Hello, today I want to talk a little bit about um, cost, essentially. A topic that I've covered in different videos. Today's perspective is going to be more about um, do you think that there is a cost to not being yourself? I think if we look at psychology, we'd say, well, sure, there is. That's why you do shadow work and um, work on your personality and develop your character. These things are, in a way, to find out more about yourself and be that person. I think when we look at health, we should be able to see a similar model in the sense that um, if the body has a set amount of energy, let's say 100% energy, and we are busy with the concern of how other people see us, and in the sense choosing our actions based on that, then I think some energy will go towards that. If we feel that we are not good enough at something, I think some energy go towards that. I think if we're not doing things to replenish our energy, um, in a way of feeling good after doing it and proud of oneself, I think that will take some energy as well. I think if we are making choices that are not supportive of our health, nutrition wise, I think that will also take away energy as well. So I think we're about, if each of those are about 10% energy, we're only at 50% energy. This 50% now has to run all the processes of the body and take care of our um, pursuit of life. I think we would more likely be well off if we used that previous 50% to use towards our potential. In often trying to put out these, let's say, character fires everywhere, somebody might think this of me, or I am a quiet person, therefore I'll act this way, or uh, I want to be friends with those people, or I want that thing over there. In this dispersion of energy, we lose, ourselves in that pursuit. I think more in the sense of gathering these things together, we'll be able to accumulate, let's say, a right action forward, a thrust towards what we truly are, what we truly want to be. I think this was the whole idea of the development of character, which is not particularly doing fun things all the time, but it is doing things that one sees to be great, contributive, and larger than themselves. So if I want to do, or if I want to be a person that is looked up to, I must do actions that afford people looking up to me. These things are generally going to be great acts of um, kindness, selflessness, initiative towards the betterment of other people. However, there is a secondary cost. I find that very much when we reference modern day health with years past health, previous historical health, if you want to call it something, that we tend to miss out the environment that goes along with the statements that were made. In the sense of me saying that in a modern day way, we need to pursue this good character thing. And when we pursue it, we're pursuing the actions mainly. I want to look a certain way. And if that is the spirit at which we are following it, we will fall short. The idea is that I truly want to be that. And in that way, I settle down to the long pursuit and earnest devotion to gaining this attribute. Because it's going to be an internal thing, it will not be something that is achievable in one glance. You cannot just gain it by reading a book. Effectively, you would have to research, study, and devote time, resources, costs, losses of things that may be previously important to be able to discover this real, I'd say, essence of that thing that we're pursuing. In the way of, let's say, the Zen garden is the essence of nature, right? We want to be able to really perceive great things through it. And in achieving this thing, in getting there, in being somebody who's looked up to and doing the work, you can actually feel good about that, even though it might not be a prestigious position in the social world. Um, let's say any job position. I don't really want to point one out because I think they're all very meaningful, but the people can be inspired by that person, a genuine individual who's earnest. Um, I think this is always inspiring because it shows to us or reflects to us that there is something more, right? There's a deeper level of achievement that we may be at the moment too busy to accomplish. Therefore, we should be grateful for people like those in a way of telling us that this is something that we might want to move towards. However, it might be um, too much of a stretch for now, but we are going to steadily work towards that. And in fact, this is how we restore health in a way of something that is going to be self-regenerative, yeah, in this process. And sometimes if we stretch too thin, we find ourselves not being able to restore, and the body pays the toll essentially for those actions. But we have to realize that the outcome of the actions is the outcome of the actions. So to make a change in the outcome, we have to change the actions. See how that works? This kind of crazy circle. And then I think we will be able to move towards this idea that we have of happiness and fulfillment in a very grounding way. I do find that a lot of the time we are using the right words to describe what would be a meaningful accomplishment, but I think we are missing the symbolism behind those words that give it value, that give it meaningfulness, that gives it a grounding presence in an individual. So that all being said, I just wanted to highlight some different ways of thought around the idea of what the cost is of not being yourself and what the pursuit of being yourself would look like. It is hard work, for sure. And that way it makes worth the accomplishment, for sure, because this accomplishment will be permanent. I should add one more thing, actually, just so I give a more rounded perspective. As you go towards this thing that is super important to you, your ideal, you will slowly progress. You might not feel that there is progression. At the time, you might feel that you're always behind the eight ball, or there's always this other pressure, and you're never going to get there. But this is because you're not used to doing it. And the change will be visible or felt by other people around you before you notice it yourself. That's essentially how self-care works. It has this weird way of happening without our notice, and this is what makes it tricky to explain to people. But anyway, I wanted to add that part in there. Hopefully it makes a little bit more sense.